Welcome, everybody, to episode 160, second episode of the day of Two Goalies, One Mic, brought to you by Fatteyb Beer. I'm live here at Fatteyb Beer in Lancaster, New York, one of many locations in Western New York with over 300 beers to choose from, and, of course, one of the best vibes. Come here for happy hour, come for live entertainment, trivia, live music. They have everything here at Fatteyb Beer. And, of course, Buffalo Logo Apparel. Honestly, if you're going to get your Buffalo Sports Apparel, clothing needs with your shirts, your hats, your hoodies. They have everything over at Buffalo Logo. Make sure you get your hands on the RJ throwback, snapback, Letterman hat, the Lindy Ruff t-shirt. Support your meddling, frustrating Sabres. Again, you can find them at buffalogo.com, fatteybeer.com, at Buffalo Logo Co. on Instagram and Twitter, at Fatteyb Beer on Instagram and Twitter as well. Just heading into hour 4 of NHL free agency, and obviously you had like the tampering period before that where a lot of news broke before noon. If you were a guy or a fan or whatever hoping for a massive improvement to your bottom 6, you got it, right? You got Jason Zucker at $5 million. You got Sam Lafferty for 2 years. You got Dennis Gilbert, which, I mean, I like the player. I like the defenseman, but he's a left-handed defenseman. Not too sure exactly how that helps your franchise, personally. You're loaded at left-handed defenseman. I just, unless he can play the right side, or, again, more of a depth guy. Has never played a full season in the NHL. He's 27 years old. Again, nice player, a local kid, but, like, other than that, that's more of a depth thing for me. Nicholas Kubal, another bottom 6 guy, plays with some jam, plays with some grit, great plays with fire. You can definitely tell that a lot of these signings were made to be like a Lindy Ruff team, right? Like Lindy Ruff. Harder to play against, not passive. You're definitely going to get some sandpaper, some grit. I know some people out there hate those buzzwords, but it's true. You're going to get that out of this new bottom 6, and they're not going to be passive the way Girgensons was, the way Okposo was. Like, you're definitely going to get more fire from your bottom 6. And where they slot in Jason Zucker is, I don't know. For me, he's a bottom 6 guy, only like 32 points last season. He's not a guy that's going to replace what you're lost with Jeff Skinner or Casey Middlestat. And it's kind of funny and ironic, and this is nothing against Bowen Byram because I like Bowen Byram, but when you made that trade for Byram, when you traded Middlestat for Byram, the expectation was, okay, we need to find something to replace what we're losing with Casey Middlestat. I guess they were hoping that would be Peyton Krebs. He didn't really show that he could be that guy at the end of last season. Didn't really, fill those shoes for skates. So right now it seems like that's the plan. They made him a qualifying offer today, along with UPL and Yoki Haru, and obviously Beck Mellenstein, if that's how you pronounce it, newly acquired bottom 6 guy from Washington. But for me, like I just, is Zucker in your top 6? I don't know. Like, for me, I know he's a responsible winger who's had some success in the past, but he's not a top 6 guy. And if that's your answer, or if they hope that one of the rookies that I'm assuming you're going to have them make the lineup, unless they have a trade up their sleeves or one of these good remaining prospects is in the plans. Right now, I think he's in your top 6, which that's not good enough. That's just not good enough. I can't agree with that. Sorry, I just can't. We're going to go real quick over the list of remaining best available free agents, I guess. Let's see here. Pulling up that list, Cap Friendly posted this about a half hour ago. Give me one moment here. No, Adam Henrique was on there, oddly enough. Jeff Skinner, which was kind of funny. A lot of you guys commented, "Oh, Jeff Skinner, let's go sign that guy," because he was on the list. But that would be so Sabres, right? Buy him out and then sign him at a cheaper deal and pay his buyout price and his new contract. That'd be funny. Let's see here. Best remaining free agents. Just had it up here. Give me one moment. Wi-Fi here is kind of slow, unfortunately. Okay, right here. So best remaining you unrestricted free agents. Number 1, Joe Pavelski. Number 2, Shane Gostisbehere. Number 3, Vladimir Tarasenko. Number 4, Adam Henrique. Number 5, Jeff Skinner. Number 6, a guy who was on my list yesterday, like Daniel Sprong. I don't know if he fits in this lineup now with the signings they made today, but I like Daniel Sprong a lot. James Van Riemsdyk at 7, Tyler Johnson at 8, Jack Roslovic at 9, and then Alexander Wenberg at 10. Those are your best remaining unrestricted free agents. I still think you need to bring in a right-handed defenseman. I'm not sure. Shane Gostisbehere, if somebody else counts, can you let me know if he is a right-handed shot defenseman? That'd be great. But definitely not close. None of these guys, except for Daniel Sprung, were on my list heading into free agency. Actually, Alexander Wenberg off the list. He is going to San Jose, 2 years at $5 million. Yeah. So, and something coming down from Pierre LeBrun here. Oh, just extension for former first overall pick, Slafkovsky. They're giving him 8 years for $60.8 million, $7.6 million average. A lot of money for who they hope to be a superstar someday in the NHL. That being said, not enough done today. It was a better day one of free agency this year than last year when all they did was sign Connor Clifton and Eric Johnson. But nothing really sexy, which I'm not sure if you're expecting sexy. Not sure if you're expecting something to be groundbreaking. We would have liked a legitimate third-line center. We would have liked a top 6 scorer. We didn't get any of that, at least so far. It's just under 4 hours into day one. If you want to count tampering as part of that, you can. So more than 4 hours. But yeah, definitely underwhelming to say the least. And I hope that this isn't the roster we're heading into the next season with, the training camp with. I hope that they don't have this high expectation for the rookies to come in and be a bunch of guys that are gonna contribute to the level that Jeff Skinner did in his prime, or that Casey Middlestat was, because that's not fair to those players. Personally, you have this abundance of assets and prospects now, especially after the draft this past weekend. So you can afford to package 1 or 2 of these guys together to go get a top 6 guy. Now, obviously, that's an issue because you might not be able to get somebody to waive their no move clause, no trade clause, which, that's no fault of it's your own fault, for being a train wreck organization for over a decade. But with that being said, you have to try, right? You have to try. You have to spend. With the money that you used in the Jeff Skinner buyout, essentially you used it on Jason Zucker and Sam Lafferty today. It's not good enough. It's just not. I understand you improved your bottom 6 quite a bit today, but it's just not good enough. It's just not. So that being said, I don't know. We'll see. A lot of teams, a lot of shuffling around. Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault going to, along with Brady Skye, going to Nashville. I think right away they become a cup contender. And from the looks of it, they didn't really have any serious negotiations in Tampa Bay with Stamkos. They just replaced him with Gensel. Almost that's kind of disrespectful, and a lot of people in Tampa aren't happy about that, how those negotiations or lack thereof went. But I think Nashville immediately becomes a contender. They locked up their goaltending for quite some time with the extension to UC Saros. I think they're just a very well-run, well-oiled machine there in Smashville, with Barry Trotz at the helm as GM. Very top to bottom, a great organization. I can see why any player would want to play there. It's a great city. It's a fun city. Always something to do. And then on top of everything else, just a very well-oiled machine, well-run organization. So not surprising there at all. Obviously, Patty Kane stayed in Detroit 1 year for $4 million base, a ton of incentives and bonuses attached to that, where he can make almost $7 million. Chandler Stevenson going to Seattle. We bring up the rest of, obviously, we bring up Friedman's timeline here. see here. I did have it up, but lots of action today in the NHL. A lot of those big names moved before even that 12 noon deadline or start time started for free agency. As I just mentioned, Alexander Wenberg going to San Jose, Nils Lundqvist to Dallas, Corey Perry re-signs with the Edmonton Oilers. The Flyers just made it official. Mitev Mishkov signs his entry-level deal. Let's see here. The Detroit Red Wings in the last hour have signed Jack Campbell, goaltender Jack Campbell, to a 1-year, $775,000 contract. Obviously, the backup. Riley Smith was traded to the New York Rangers for a second and I think a 5th-round pick. Anthony Duclair signing with the Islanders. Former Sabre Ilya Labushkin signing a 2-year deal with Dallas. Eric Gustafson, 2 years for $2 million in Detroit. Brendan Smith to Dallas. Josh Brown, defenseman, going to the Oilers. Ryan Lomberg. I know some Sabres fans were hoping that maybe he would fit into the Lindy Ruff scheme. He signs with Calgary, 2 years at $2 million. Casey DeSmith, goaltender, going to Dallas for 1 year for $3 million. Sam Steele to Dallas for 1 year at $1.2. Stefan Noesen, 3 years at $2.75 to New Jersey. And as I mentioned, for Chandler Stevenson, 7 years for $6.25 in Seattle. Matt Grzelcyk to Pittsburgh at 1 year for $2.75. And those are really a lot of more of the notable names. Warren Fogle to Los Angeles, 3 years, $3 million. Cam Talbot for 2 years for $2.5 million. And Jonathan Drouin remains in Colorado. Former Sabre William Carrier, 6 years at $2 million in Carolina. Jake DeBrusk, 7 years at $5.5 million for Vancouver. That's a really good deal in my opinion for Vancouver. Sean Monahan, a good deal for Columbus, $5.5 million. And then again, Jason Zucker, $5 million for 1 year in Buffalo. Nikita Zadorov and Elias Lindholm both signing in Boston. Arvidsson to Edmonton. Brady Skye, as I mentioned earlier, 7 years at $7 million for Nashville. And then Stamkos got $8 million for 4 years in Nashville. And David Perron to Ottawa, 2 years at $4 million. Those again, most of the notable names moving around the league. Chandler Stevenson, he was top of my list as like my wants and my wish list yesterday. And I know I took some heat because I said I'd be willing to pay that guy $8 million, and I still would. I don't care. Maybe the term is way out of whack, and maybe you cut that term in half or maybe 3 years. But for me, you have to be willing to take risks in this league. The Sabres haven't taken many risks. And Chandler Stevenson, the guy has a pedigree of winning. I don't care. I don't care about your heat maps. I don't care about your charts. Don't show them me. You're wasting your time. You're literally wasting your time looking them up, copying, pasting them to a tweet, and sending. I don't care. I do not care about your math. That stuff does not be able to give a proper readout of the pedigree of a player. Chandler Stevenson has done nothing but win in this league over the past 5 years. He has been one of the unsung heroes of Vegas for a while. A guy who just goes out there and does his job. Is 5-out-5 numbers or analytics the greatest? No. You know what? The guy has been on deep playoff runs. He has a cup, and he's been in a culture of winning for quite some time now. And that's something the Sabres don't have. I think the closest thing the Sabres have to that right now is, in fact, a guy who's barely old enough to drink in Bowen Byram. That's not good enough. You added some stuff with Sam Lafferty and Jason Zucker, and sure, that's great and everything, but still, you just don't have enough experience in winning on this team. You just don't. And for me, I need more. I need more winning pedigree on this team. You don't have it. And if this is the team you're going to head into training camp with, I'm scared. We're looking at 14 years. That's just my opinion. I think the Sabres have had the worst offseason so far of any team in the National Hockey League. I don't even think it's debatable. Starting with the draft, the fact that they used all of their draft picks pretty much for the most part and didn't make any relatively meaningful deals to improve their roster other than Beck Malliston out of Washington, which you overpaid for with a second-round pick, and everybody knows that. Kevin Adams can deny it all he wants, but he did. He overpaid for a fourth-line guy. I'm a little worried. At face value, I do like the deals they made today. I think that you built a team that can play well under Lindy Ruff, at least from a bottom six perspective. But if you think that you're just going to replace what left your room with Jeff Skinner and Casey Middlestat with a Jason Zucker and hopefully like a rookie that can come in, or Jack Quinn, which I think it's irresponsible to think that Jack Quinn can step in after some serious injury problems and come in and be that guy. I think that's pretty irresponsible if you're as a GM. I think you need reassurance in that top six position. And not put that type of pressure on a guy coming off a major injury. He's getting out of hand over here. But it's just not good enough. Not good enough. I hope that Kevin Adams has something up his sleeve, because I think we all know, and I don't think I'm wrong for saying this. I think that his job is on the line. It absolutely is on the line. He needs to have a good offseason. He needs to improve this roster as it sits right now. He hasn't really done that yet, other than, again, he did make this team tougher to play against. More physical, more sandpaper, more jam. He did give them that in a bottom six perspective. But scoring, don't see it. Just don't. I don't think it's responsible to think that Jack Quinn or one of your rookies stepping in this season is going to be that guy. You need to add something. And all of these assets you've acquired through the draft, your Savoy, your Kulik, your Austin, your Rosen, and now the picks you made in this draft. You have to package some of it together. You have to. What's it? Consta Hyanen? Is it? I'm sorry. The first round pick. I was really big on him because of how well he played in the Finnish leagues as a 16-year-old. He was playing with men. It's not like in junior hockey, in the OHL or up in Canada where you play with kids your own age, or even college where, you might play with some older players, but at the end of the day, they're still kind of in your age bracket, where he played with men.
So who paid it?
But let me see who that was again. But let's see who it was. Who was it? One second here. I didn't want to mispronounce his name. Consta Hellenis, out of the Liga. Again, a very close to NHL ready player, if not NHL ready. Olli Jokinen, who was his coach over in Finland, said he could play in the NHL next season. That's great. Okay, so maybe he skyrockets to the top of who your best possible prospects. But does that not make one, or if not two, of those prospects that you've compiled and you've built this great prospect pool, make them expendable to make your roster now better? You have to believe it. I know it's tough. You've seen the rumors come out this past week about teams not willing to negotiate with the Sabres, waive their no movement clause, or just sign here in general, which we might have even seen today. But all of the losing for over a decade, the mismanagement from an ownership perspective, obviously, I think from a player's perspective, what happened with Jack Eichel, it has to play into it, right? It does. It just does. Player wants to come in here and know that they're going to be treated well, that their health is going to be taken care of. And maybe some players out there, just after seeing what happened with Jack, just don't believe that Buffalo, puts them and their health at the forefront. I don't know. Got some comments in here. Quite a few, actually. From Hudson. I don't know if we will make the playoffs with this roster. It's not hard. Does Kevin care about his job? It's going to be Greenway. I'm not sure what that is referring to, Big Fungus. If you can give me some elaborate there a little bit. I don't think they can sign Jeff Skinner. That was a joke. You're right down the street from me. Oh, stop by and have a beer, Carl. Fatteyb Beer in Lancaster. The place to be. 7 days a week. How are we feeling? Not good, as I said. Brady Tkachuk doesn't have a no trade clause. If that's true, then let's throw everything at Brady Tkachuk. I thought he did have a no trade clause, but I would trade half this roster for Brady Tkachuk and not even think twice about it. Do you trust General Manager Kevin Adams? I think that he is very good at evaluating talent. From a draft perspective, I think he's done a very good job of restocking the cupboards and making our pipeline, our youth, and our depth with that a very, very solid commodity, whether it's building through the draft and using these players on your roster next season and the following, or if you flip these assets into actual players. He's done a good job of that, but pulling the trigger via trade or getting things done in free agency, like he has really yet to show that he can do that. The biggest deal he's made up until this point is the Casey Middlestat Bowen Byram trade, and the jury's still out on that, right? Like maybe Bowen Byram comes out and has 60 points next season and he has a phenomenal year. Hopefully that's the case, but we'll see. On one hand, I think the Sabres got better in the bottom six. They did. But on the other hand, I'm seriously concerned about the top six. Also bringing back Joker and Bryson for any amount of money is disappointing. I'll say this about Bryson. Bryson, at the tail end of last season, say last 20 games, he played very, very well. So if he is going to be your seventh defenseman, I'm fine with it. A guy who can step in and play like that, if he can consistently play like that, completely fine with it. Yoki Haru, he is a right-handed shot defenseman on a team with not very many, so I can see why they qualified him, because maybe they looked at him compared to what was still remaining as from right shot, and they valued him at the number they would get him more than what was available left in the market. Again, I don't know if Shane Gostisbehere is a right-handed shot defenseman, but again, do I want Henry Yoki Haru on this team? Not necessarily, but if he's the best that's available compared to what's out there still remaining and free agency, then I get it, I guess. Duane, I don't think a good fit in Lindy's defensive system, and I don't believe the team's power play will be much better either way. I mean, it was kind of more of a joke, Matt. But Jack shouldn't have lied about how he got injured. I don't know the specifics on that. I thought it happened during a game. As far as I know, it did. Greenway in the top six, I meant. Oh, yeah, I mean, if that's not good if Greenway's in your top six. Not good at all. Not good at all. Once again, searching for a top pair D-man to play with power. Right now, I think they think it's Samuelson, healthy Samuelson. I do believe that. So, but again, am I angry as I was last year about what was done on day one of free agency? No. I think they did improve some areas of their team that they desperately needed to improve on, but they definitely didn't improve that much on putting the puck in the net, and that's where they need to improve. I think they became a more aggressive, physical, violent, defensive team today, but in terms of, again, putting the puck in the net, they did not improve there at all, in my opinion. That being said, guys, again, I wanted to keep this one short. Recap. I'll pop on again live at some point tonight if, in fact, something else happens. I know we all saw. I kind of joked about it. Kevin seems to be at development camp today. I know he has, scouts hopefully working. I wish kind of he was in a war room working. From a looks standpoint, I don't think it's good for him to be sitting. I don't like the fact that he's sitting next to Lindy Ruff watching development camp rather than being in a war room. And that's just me. You guys might feel the same way, but I want him grinding this one day out because it could mean his job. That being said, one sec, Mr. Greg Day, you got anything to say to the fans? Got anything to say to the fans? Come on over. We're going to get the manager of Fatteyb Beer Lancaster here to give you his thoughts on free agency. They want your thoughts on free agency. Come on over. Tell him. There he is.
My thoughts on free agency.
Let's hear it.
Sabres are brutal. They have to pay way above market to get players to come here. And they couldn't even do that.
No, they did with Jason Zucker.
Jason Zucker equals Stanley Cup. Said nobody. They're nowhere. I mean, they're a mess.
Tell them why they should come to Fatteyb Beer in Lancaster.
300 beers to choose from, positive vibes. Tonight we have trivia at 7. We have Lloyd's Taco Truck at 5 to 8. Rest of the week we have the Lancaster 4th of July celebration. It's going to be good times. See you soon.
Awesome. That being said, guys, I'm going to sign off. This has been episode 160 of Two Goalies, One Mic. Free agency day one recap. Again, if anything of substance happens again, we'll pop on again live. But for that, just enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy this nice weather. And as always, and forever, go Sabres. Talk to you later.
Landmarks.